about a family, the Kwanzaa family. You see, Papa Tambiko and Mama Kawahita, they had grown to be jeweled elders, for they had raised 7 beautiful children. Now these children had in turn continued the lineage by marrying and having babies of their own. And they had moved away, but very often they brought the love back home. And this time, the end gathering was going to be in December. So Mama, she began decorating the home with beautiful African fabrics like batiks and kentes and tie-dye. Then she went into the favorite room in the whole house, the kitchen. There, she decorated the table with a beautiful African prints, and on top, she placed a woven mat right in the center, for upon that would be the gift that her husband Tambiko had made for her just that year, a candle holder with 7 places, 1 for each of the children. After she had placed her chosen colors of red, black, and green, just so, Mama bent down to the pots and pans cabinet, and she started pulling out the favorites. You know the one I'm talking about, the blue roasting pan, the one with the white dots, with the dent right down at the end that holds the last little bit of Mama's sock up grass. And she pulled out the big black well-seasoned frying pan just for frying fish. And then Mama pulled out the round pot with the broken handle from the weight of those collard greens, and of course she put on top of the cabinet some of those pie plates for that flavor right pie. Now Papa, he was doing his part too. He was in the kitchen with Mama, just a-drinking and a-talking and a-drinking and a-talking and a-drinking and a-talking. You see, Papa had a habit of drinking well water out of this great big old cup. And then Papa had a good habit of filling Mama's spirit with the good old times. Now, just about this time, it was time for the children to come back home, and after they greeted and hugged and greeted and loved and greeted and kissed and greeted and laughed and greeted and cried, well, they said it's time to get ready to do the favorite thing, the right thing. Get ready to eat. So some of the children went off to the cornfields, and then some of the children went off to the vegetable fields. Mama, she stayed in the kitchen, and she started putting fruit in a basket. And as she put each piece of fruit in that basket to place upon the table, she thought about the love that her husband had harvested in the family. She thought about the achievements of her children and even the community. Now, Papa, he had went on down to the yam field, and he had started pulling up some yams. And he would pick one up, and he put it in the sack. He'd pick one up, and he put it in the sack. He'd pick another one up, and he put it in the sack. But that yam didn't come up. So Papa took some of his water and he poured it on the earth, and he loosened the earth some, and he thought about those who had bought the land and who had worked it before him and the shoulders that he stood upon. And he really tried to pull that yam. And he tried this way and that way and this way, but the yam just wouldn't come up. So he called his wife, Kawahita! And Kawahita came on down. Kawahita came down because she was a woman of tradition and reason, and she loved putting it into practice. And so Kawahita hugged her husband, and they started pulling on that yam together. And it went something like this. Tabiko was a pulling on the yam. Harambe, Kawahita was a pulling on the yam. Harambe, but do you know that that yam still did not come up? And so Kawahita, she put her hand on her right hip, her left hip. She let her backbone slip. She leaned forward to a tip. She swung down in the dip. She let her head whip, and she called all 7 of her children. She called Umoja, Kujichakalia. She called Ujima, Ujama. She called Nia. She called Kuumba, and she called Imani. And they came on down, and they all hugged together, and they took one big tug of that yam, and that yam came on up. Her